We're back.
Yeah,
Hmm.
there you go.
Yeah, it's awesome. So I'm here. Yeah, here
Cool.
to.
Okay,
You can
so
go.
this is just following on. This is following on from the Facebook Live that we're doing. There was just a bit of echoing happening, so we've swapped to a recorded video. So we were just going to follow on from. I was just kind of talking about how I see it in a way where, from a soul level, before we even come into this human experience, our soul's consciousness has an awareness of our highest path in this incarnation, in this lifetime, connected with our purpose and all the areas of our life, our highest path, and so on. And I feel like our soul kind of has our back in the way that it's already set up all the energetic links or all the energetic kind of connections as a path for us to follow very easily in this lifetime that will feel very natural and just kind of synchronistic, and that it's all kind of somewhat set in place for us, yet it's not our set in stone reality, in terms of we still have that choice to go more towards using more of like our mind and our logic and kind of just creating our own path according to society or whatever. And we can choose to kind of go alternative paths or parallel realities. But I feel like when we go into that space where we just tune into our soul and listen and follow our intuition and follow those kind of like whispers or pulls towards, whatever it is, that we can realize, my soul already has this sorted. Like, I just have to listen and follow and be courageous enough to trust every step as I go without having to know the whole staircase, and just in that space of like, I'm better off just tuning in, listening, intuitively following and trusting than trying to figure this all out myself and and trying to struggle through it all to bring it together the way I want it to be. Because essentially there's this path that's already energetic, aligned, everything's synced up. I think of it like I think a lot of the time it's the people in terms of soulmates or soul sisters or the soul network. That's a big part of it. Like those people start, when you listen to your soul and start following that, those people start coming into your life because they were already essentially connected by your soul. And now that you're connected with your soul on a human level, those things start coming into place. And then they may be guides or teachers that show you bits and pieces along the way, or they might give you opportunities. And, I feel like it's all connected with all the universe's resources, whether that be financially, whether that be, financially is like the biggest part of it, I guess, but just everything that you're needing along the way, those things coming into your path, because it's almost like I see it like the soul is in connection with the universe, and you have almost this like intention or path or agreement with the universe before you come into this incarnation, like, okay, this is the highest path, everything's available for this human, we've got it all set out as easy as possible for them as long as they just listen and follow and trust. But we kind of come in and get caught up in stuff and don't let ourselves go into space a lot of the time. But when we do, things just become very just like clear. Do you find that as well?
Well, a couple of things that popped to me as you shared that was, I always think about it like a golden thread. There's like this little gentle whisper of what we know to be and do. I also think about, there's clues in movies, like Dorothy would follow the yellow brick road. Remember in The Wizard of Oz? And I was just thinking, just flowing in my mind in that moment was that, Nick Pigeon, who's a beautiful friend of ours, and she's one of your, close friends now. And another friend who she's doing business with, Angie, is another woman who somehow connected with me online. And 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning in Australia, I woke up and somehow Angie and I got in a conversation. I didn't realize she's actually quite successful at what she does. somehow we just had this flow in terms of what we were doing. And, you know, we're talking about Rick and Josh, you know, some friends of ours that we love. You know, friends of mine, you know, Daniel Eisem and JP Sears, just different guys that we talk about the golden thread. Even when we're in California, we wanted to find an apartment. And I wrote down the logic of what I wanted to look for. But every time I went to one, it just didn't quite feel right. And then we went for a walk, and then we just bumped into the exact perfect people for us to end up creating an apartment with another guy, Dustin Thomas, who knows JP, Daniel, and all these other guys. It's just a fascinating possibility to explore. People, places, how it goes up. Constantly fascinated by it all. But I think for me, more and more, it's taking those moments to like really slow down. You touch on people, then tuning in. And yeah, definitely like that level of guidance, that level of being tuned in makes a massive difference. But my internet's just tweaking again. Can you hear me? Just lost you for a second. See, I'm not sure if it's your internet or mine. I'll just put it on a different internet. It's fun. Should be working in a second. How's that?
But trusting that following it is like the golden thread. It is the golden path that will lead you to, you know, the highest path, the highest destination, I guess.
Yeah, it's fun. I've been playing with an idea recently. You know, I ran, you know, I was talking about our brand before, Global Transformation Experiences, and it's become a bit of a quest because the way I've chosen to live my life is following that golden thread. And it's nice, you know, it's definitely a luxury that we're able to use technology like this to mentor and coach people and facilitate people around the world. It's a great freedom, and it's quite a simple and effective way to create a phenomenal income. I'm so grateful for that. But at the start of the year, I went, it's nice, but it's not quite enough. And the golden thread was I need to actually take people on these experiences where they realize that what I'm actually talking about is not made up. It's not just a philosophy. It's a liveology. It's literally this is what we do. And when we went over to Bali, that was part of the experience. And now we're going over to a quest into Peru. And I literally had that where I tuned in at the start of the year, and I just kept writing down that I need to run retreats. Now I'm moved away from retreats and calling it transformation experiences, so it sounds cooler. But yeah, it just sounds way cooler. But ultimately, that thing is taking people into an experience of oneness, people into an experience where they can trust themselves and feel that more and more. But I'm even going on that question before, how you've always known. Since I was a kid, I always felt different. I was kind of different to you at school in some ways, because I would look out the window most of the time. I would be up to mischief most of the time, but somehow most of the way through high school, I still topped my year. So I did, and it's always been a bit of a battle in some ways, the intellect versus the magic. And I see how they intertwine together now. But, you know, a lot of people, because I'd get high grades, would say, well, you should be a doctor or a lawyer. I did part of a law degree. None of that stuff's necessarily hard to go and learn and write things out, but it never quite felt like me. And even as a young man, even as a teenager, I'd travel and people put their hands on me and they'd start to tell me all these things like a prophecy. I always felt like, that's what I've always been fascinated about. I was talking to a guy 2 days ago about this, how I've always felt like this indigenous man in a white man's body.
Yeah.
And the same way that I bumped into, like I made the time to catch up with Josh, and then I bumped into Rick and Josh and Mel and Mel's assistant. They were all going out for a little adventure. I got to see them, thinking I was going to go to catch up with someone else, another friend's friend, and then we bumped into all those guys, of course. Had an amazing time. But I always had this sense, you know, like that there is an indigenous heritage within us, that there's some slipperiness of the mind, that there's something way beyond what we're perceiving right now. And that's been my quest to experience that. And more and more, you know, that's what I'm saying at the start of this year, it was fascinating to me to go, well, cool. Just at the time I'm having a family, it probably makes sense to continue doing these online membership mastermind things where everyone gets in a group and I just got to do one call a week.
Yeah.
But I went, what I really want, and what I feel this golden thread is to actually create experiences around the world and have these focus times with people.
Mm-hmm.
And then the focus time for me, I found, you know, just give people a few clues what's worked for me. A lot of time on my own.
Yeah.
Really helps. A lot of time with trees. I drink a lot of water. I'm always on these calls, just drinking lots of water. I found that really helps. And I'm interested too. Let's touch on dreams. And what are your dreams like? Not just like your dreams and goals and aspirations, but night. Like, what kind of dreams are you having?
Are you meaning like the astral realm, like nighttime dreams, or are you meaning like more visions?
No, nighttime dreams. You can touch on vision as well, but since I was a kid, I had stuff, but I want to know what's going on for you.
And I think just before we move into it, I just want to mention too, with what we were talking about just now, is like you've got the option of trying to take everything in like a logical, working it out type of space, or you can kind of just dip into the wondrous kind of mystical magic of following your soul. And I think of it like I would rather dip into that and feel the wondrousness of it, or feel the mystical, you know, magic feeling of it, not knowing where it's going to lead me exactly, than plan out something that feels mundane, or it's something that feels, you know, like you can just expect it to be a certain way and know how it's going to be, but not necessarily like it's not an adventure, you know. There's nothing to surprise you in that journey, if you know what I mean. So it's kind of just like deciding. I am more of a person who trusts in the mystery of life and what it can show me, as opposed to what I think is the right logical way to approach it, you know. But yeah, I love talking about dream state and astral experiences. I'm doing a lot lately, and I've had a lot of people messaging me saying, hey, you came to me in my dream last night, you did a reading for me, or hey, like you came and did healing on me, or you know, hey, we hung out and ate guacamole, like just all times. And it was just hilarious to me, because I had, like, for a couple of weeks I'd just been obsessed with eating like lots of guacamole, like just lots of Mexican food. And so then one of my clients from the UK, she on that just happened to message me and be like, hey, you came to me in my dream and we're just eating lots of guacamole. And I was like, that is so cool. I love it right now. So it was just kind of like really kind of deep spiritual experiences with people, and then just like fun random experiences with lots of people lately. I do wake up quite tired, because I feel like I've been out soul journeying in it.
That's what I was curious about,
I haven't actually really slept.
So what is that? That's what I've been curious about too, that waking up tired, because I used to have 5 or 6 hours of sleep and just wake up pumped. And now, not always, but sometimes I just literally go through these periods where I feel like I'm having another awakening or something, where I'm having large amounts of snoozes, like 8, 9, 10 hours. I still wake up and I know what to do. But yeah, last night was quite intense for me, actually. I just had a really intense night of dreams. So you wake up tired sometimes too, hey? Yeah, right.
Like always still wake up tired after, even if it's like 10 or 11 sleep.
Yeah, wow. Did you always, or was that recent?
Did I always wake up tired, or
was that just recently?
Just going a little bit robotic. Just waiting for your connection to just stabilize. Can you just ask again?
Yeah. Did you always wake up tired, or is that just a recent thing?
I think it's. I feel like because I had this experience a couple of years ago where about for 2 weeks straight every night I was having really, really intense dreams, and I'd just wake up every morning like really, really tired. And then after about the 2 week mark, I kind of just crossed paths with this person who is very kind of intuitive, and he just kind of put his hand on my shoulder and was like, "You haven't slept for about 2 weeks. You really need to like sleep." And I was like, "I know what you mean, because like I've slept, but I haven't slept," type of thing, and I was exhausted. And so I had to learn how to. I find with this particular thing, I find working with the angels quite powerful in terms of like I'll ask my angels to come in and just kind of wrap me in their wings, and just it's almost like a do not disturb.
I like that.
In terms of when I imagine and when I call them in and when I visualize their wings wrapping around me, it's like a okay. Jessica's soul can, travel 24/7, but also in a human body, and she actually does need to sleep, and that's what I communicate with them. I kind of say I say to like my soul, and I say to my spirit guides and my angels, like, you need to understand while I'm in this human physical body, I need to rest. Otherwise, I'm not going to be able to do the work I'm here to do. And so I'll call and be like, please wrap me in your wings and put the do not disturb sign up and don't allow, just kind of like don't allow any other energies to come and interact with me. I don't wish to go on any journeys with anyone else. Like I just need to sleep and rest, and that's it. And then I'll wake up in the morning and be like, oh, thank you. Like I actually got a night of sleep type of thing. But a lot of time it's what I find most exciting and thrilling is the astral traveling experiences, where it's, and a lot of people kind of ask like, what's the difference between like a dream and astral traveling? And I see it kind of like a dream is almost like you're watching a movie. Like you're in it, but it's almost like watching a movie, and you're kind of like, oh, we went here, we went there, and we did this and this happened. But astral traveling is like you've stepped into your astral body in the astral realm, and you've got the remote control, and so to speak. Your remote control is your intention, your consciousness, and it's like you step into the space where, for me, almost every time I can't quite tell if I'm awake in the physical and actually moving around, or whether I'm in the astral and moving around in that space. And I mean, it's kind of funny that I have that confusion, because there's a lot of telltale signs in terms of, I'm in my house but my roof is missing, and I just look up at the cosmos, or things like that. But in the actual experience, it's like, everything's very physical. I can feel everything. I can walk around. I can, everything's very palpable, but it's slightly different. And then once you realize, like, okay, I'm in the astral realm, you can just put your intention to what you want to do, and it will be done. Type of thing. Like I love flying. Sometimes.
How do you fly?
So it's really just intention.
I don't know, but outside. Like, do you put your hands out in front? I'm like this. I got a magic carpet. I'm like this.
You're like Aladdin. No, I'm not Aladdin style. I'm more like, I'll just go outside and I'll just kind of run up my driveway and just
take off.
It's not like I'm flapping my wings or anything. It's just like I just feel my astral body just flying up and just raising. And then I can literally feel like the atmosphere in terms of the higher I get, the colder I get, and just watch everything else get smaller and smaller and smaller. And then if I'm in that space where I'm in like the alignment with it, I'll just keep going. But if I look down and think like, I'm too high, I'll just go like back down into my body and wake up and be like, damn it. And that's one of the experiences where you're lying there and you go, you like jolts.
Yeah.
Like, damn. If I just didn't think that thought of fear, I would have continued to go off. But I used to have a puppy. This was my favorite thing about astral traveling. I used to have this puppy that would come with me
cool.
because when I lived in Australia, in the mornings, my partner would get up at like 6 o'clock and go to work. And so then I'd be in that in-between snoozy state. And my puppy would jump in bed with me and cuddle. And then we'd go off into the astral. And he'd be walking beside me like a companion everywhere I went, which is really cool.
Taj and I have had that. You know, our son?
Yeah.
I'll send you a photo, but yeah, literally soon after he was born, he's like resting on my chest. And I just had this thing where I'm just out with him, you know, just having these experiences. I've done it before where there's this technology called Lucia light technology where you shine white light on your pineal gland and all of a sudden you're seeing a whole kaleidoscope of colors. You touched on, you know, ayahuasca before. Apparently it can give you a similar experience to DMT or ayahuasca and things like that, or LSD. I've not touched any of those substances, but a lot of friends have. It's always a curious thing. It's just not been, I just haven't felt called to it. But with that, you can actually go with a group of friends and you can start traversing these things while you're in the experience, which is super fun. Have you ever changed anything in the astral and then you've noticed that it's changed in your life?
I would don't know if I'd say change, but it's like I've had realizations in the astral and then that's transferred into my real life. And the funny thing is with the flying, I always have like this real frustration around it because when I come back into the physical realm, in my physical body, I really struggle with the idea of the fact that I can't fly because,
100%.
because it's so used to it and it feels so real and natural that it's like I'm just kind of standing around like, I know how to do this. I know how to just levitate. I know how to just kind of just hover and fly off. I know how to do that. And then I'm kind of standing in my room like, you know, like, come on. I'm like, I just need a jetpack or something.
The other thing is, jetpacks to someone years ago was magic. It's now logical. Yeah. You know, the Wright brothers, they're flying. They were bicycle mechanics. And then they got an intuition that they could do that. That's what fascinates me. And then 20 years after they developed planes, people didn't believe it.
Yeah.
So I always think that flying a magic carpet would be possible. Like same like that make-believe.
Hoverboards.
Yeah, for sure. But just going how far intangible, how far do we want to play this game? Because there's always that slippery slope between your insanity and genius. And I know my friends that do similar work. I've had one friend, Daniel, you'd love as well. He 7 years ago, they had him on all kinds of medication. And now he works with all the Hollywood celebrities as an advisor. Because he can hear the spirit. He can hear the voices. He gets all that sort of the downloads or whatever, you know, the information that comes in. But years ago at university, at college, people thought he was insane. Now he's considered a bit of a genius. Interesting.
Yeah, kind of like I think of, I've always thought of, you know, like cell phones as almost like a physical manifestation of telepathy.
It's crazy.
You know? Yeah, it's like, and I'm always doing that. I'm always looking like, how does this thing, you know, I just push a button and I can Nick Pigeon at the other side of the world. Like your voice is right.
We love you, Nick.
Like, yeah. And I'm like, how does this happen? And I'm like, I understand, like, it's the only way I can kind of understand it is like we've just figured out how to physically put into place what we already do on a telepathic level. You know what I mean? Like we just stream frequencies and that's basically it kind of thing. But I love the astral experiences because I feel like it helps me to dip into, like I was saying earlier, the trust and like the mysterious, the wondrous, and the realization that like I'll never have it, so I'll never understand it all, but I want to continue discovering it.
Yeah, 100%.
I think that's such a cool thing to acknowledge as well. Is like we'll never get it all understood because even if we're on the leading edge of it, it's still going to expand and expand and expand. Like we're never going to understand from a human vantage point everything that there is to know about the universe. But it's like, why not be in the wonder of it and continue to be led by it and be amazed by it as it gets more and more and more magical, you know. So I think that's something to trust. That's something to go with and to just follow your heart with. And,
I'm definitely fascinated by that. That's, you know, talking about astral too. Some of our other friends, like you probably know them too, like friends Preston and Alexi, for instance. I had friends for years trying to hook me up on a call with those guys, and I go, it's all good. I'll meet them when I'm meant to. I'm never in a rush to, you know, to catch up with people. If it's in the flow, it'll happen. I always just have that, I don't know, just have that trust in it now. But they showed up in an astral dream. And when I landed in California, Alexi was the second person I bumped into. Preston was the third. And I'm always fascinated by that. Someone now, just to give you guys like little things you can do too, just to test this stuff, because it's fun for you to have an experience, not just hear a story, but then to have an experience would be say you want to catch up with someone. You might want to catch up with Jessica or myself, or another friend you haven't seen in years. And all I do now, I'll just share what my practice is if I want to catch up with someone. Say with you, Jessica, I'll just go, I'll see you soon. That's all I need to do. We're here in this experience together. I'll go, I'll see you soon. And somewhere on the planet, I'll bump into you. It'll just happen. And if there's someone that I don't know, I did it a while ago with a lady, Glenise. I was listening to her on a podcast. I go, she seems cool. She seems legit. I'd like to meet her. So I wrote her name down in my book. I connected a golden thread between me and her. And I kind of pulled her in just a little bit. And she ended up renting, like there's 7 billion people on the planet. Somehow, out of everyone on the planet, when I rented my house out for 2 months over summer in the tropics, she got in touch. And I didn't invite her. Christy did a post, and somehow she didn't like, Christy didn't even know who this lady is. Somehow out of 7 billion people, she ends up renting a house out for 2 months over summer. And it's interesting, all these different things, this level of trust. A friend just did it the other day, just in terms of renting a house. 3 days before he needed to move, he still didn't have another house organized. And now he's got the best house ever. It's interesting too. I'm also I talked about on that other call before about structure with the flow, because I'm playing with it at the moment. I've been quite super flow for the last few years with travel, and that'll still be part of my life experience. And now with Christy and Taj, part of the vision now I have is we'll be purchasing our new dream home soon. And part of the vision now is 2 months every year in Europe, just seeing that pop up. And then also, I think this is fun to talk about. It comes up a lot in the conversations when I'm mentoring people, and, you know, at the experiences we run as well. How do you navigate this with a life partner? This is something, you know, Rick and Mel are our friends. We can just talk about them too. It's a new experience for them because they've been navigating it solo, and now they come together. And it's just a good question for you as well. You know, that thing like navigating intuitively, one in a life relationship, also in a business with a team. I think it's fun. Like, it's something I'm navigating a bit at the moment. Just thought I'd drop that one in there and ask you about it.
I can hear.
Yeah, can you hear me? So in terms of, you know, that like being guided by spirit, living intuitively, living in flow, living in oneness, what's been your experience, you know, with like business partners or life partners? How have you, because you said previously you left your long-term partner years ago because you knew something different was available. And I've definitely, I've definitely done that for sure.
Yeah. The way I've kind of found it is that there's a bit of for me, it's like a bit of the concept of myself as a creator and visualizing what it is that I feel is in my highest alignment. And then also an aspect of, say, when I communicate with my spirit guides or my angels or just source energy, there's also an aspect of them showing me what's coming into place and what's for the highest alignment and details about that. And so it's like a bit of a co-creation in that sense. If you were to talk about, say, relationships, when I was in a relationship for 6 years, and that was like the one in Australia where we set up everything, you know, you're supposed to have, and then I realized this isn't it.
Yeah.
Knew that was it. The energy just felt like it had dropped. Like I had wanted to leave that relationship many times beforehand, but there was still this energy like keeping me there. Like I haven't completed what I meant to learn or realize from it. And so the energy dropped, and I was like, okay, it's time to go. And I also started seeing from spirit, like images or inklings, nudges of new energy and relationship that was coming into my life. And so I was like, okay, I'm 100% leaving, and I'm trusting that this is all part of it. And at the time I was visualizing I wanted to be, and because of the contrast of the previous relationship, I was like, okay, I want to be with someone who is open, that we can go traveling and we can be on an adventure and enjoy each other's energy all in there, as opposed to like, you know, say previously it was like if we went on a holiday for a weekend, we would find something to argue about, you know.
Yeah, right.
And so I was visualizing, I want to go with someone who I feel I'm just best friends with, and we're traveling and we're adventuring and everything's just enjoyable and so on. And then, yeah, they started showing me this energy coming in, and then literally within, I think it was about 2 weeks between officially kind of like leaving the relationship and meeting this next person, they came into place, and I kind of looked them in the eye at one point and just realized like, oh, you're that person. And I knew it wasn't like my lifetime partner, but I knew like this is the person that's for this part of the journey, kind of about 2 years. And then on that first day that I spent with him, I had this really vivid image of being on an airplane and sitting next to him and looking out the window, and we were looking over Europe. I just knew it was Europe. You know, there were no landmarks or anything, but I was like, oh, that's Europe. And it just kind of happened, like, as we kept talking and hanging out and stuff, he was like, oh, well, I'm going to Europe in like end of May. And that was like about 6 months away at the time. And I was like, oh, okay. Like, and I kind of forgot about that vision a bit. And then I just said, okay, I'll come with you. And then we went to Europe, and on the flight over from Dubai to Amsterdam, I just kind of was sitting there. And like I said, I kind of just forgot that vision. And I was sitting there, and I looked around, and I saw him sitting next to me, and I looked out the window, and it was the same image. Yeah. And I was like, that's the vision that I had the first day I met him. And so it's like a bit of that kind of co-creation of like, I had my intentions of what it was that I was wanting, and Spirit was showing me kind of like that person was lined up and ready to come in, and that was also a part of my soul's journey in terms of relationships. And then came into place, and then that vision kind of just confirmed it. And I think it's just about, when you're in a relationship, being in that space where trusting that if you're meant to be together, then your visions or your soul's urges or desires will be somewhat aligned, even if they kind of thread in and out of each other. They're connected, and then just being in that creative space with each other of, you know, like each voicing your soul's desires and seeing how they intertwine, and then both holding like a very similar vision for that, and co-creating, setting those intentions and aligning with those energies. I think that's a big thing.
I like that.
Knowing that if it's the right one, at least for that time, listen to your soul, then you're both on a similar journey.
Christy and I have been together.
How about you?
Christy and I have been together about just over 8 years, I think it is now. And our first year was challenging. Like it was my I used to live in Sydney, and I was part of a few things, and in Sydney I was part of this men's group, and all the men, every time we'd catch up, I'd just sit there and I'd go, I know that Christy's the lady for me, but it was definitely challenging. They go, you've got, like, just say the who's who in the scene of Sydney at the time. I could go and date these particular women. As soon as I'd have a problem with Christy, they'd be lining up to try and catch up. And I look at that now, and I can see how that's probably some of my insecurities and just kind of keeping things, just kind of going on the side just in case. But
yeah,
I didn't go and pursue any of those. But it was just an interesting one with Christy that, I don't know. I just some part of me is like, this is the woman I got to be with. Never really questioned
even
like
if
this.
it's
Yeah, even if it was tough, even when no one else could see what I saw, and the guys that were trying to tell me what to do back then, I just look at their relationships they're in where they haven't really gone for it, and it's not working. And I know with Christy, we have a thing now where we both share what's important to us, and rather than one of us getting what we want and the other one doesn't, we're always, particularly when we travel, we're always aiming for how do we both get what we want.
Yeah.
And when I'm like being the the visionary, being the man, taking us on a tangent, and she's not down for it, she'll definitely let me know. And when we both set our minds to something and our hearts to something, it just seems to show up with consistency. So that's why I always, I guess just to touch on that too, take the time. I've got this. I always say to people, make sure you have time for a magic book. This is my one. And I'll have a book that I write in every day, like a journal, but this is the one that I put important stuff in. And it's purple and it's pretty and it's like real, like it's quality. I think it's called a Campo Marzio. But the stuff that I write in this, it's done.
Yeah.
I don't know how it's going to show up, but I wrote down the dream house the other day, and then Taj was screaming, and we ended up down a side street, and exactly everything we want in a house was on that street. There's a for sale sign down there.
Oh, wow.
And it's at a thing where, we could do it in about 12 months with investments, but I'm like, well, how can I do it now? How can I do it soon?
Yeah.
And that's why I was going to touch on you too. What's in terms of creation, there's obviously, I got a lot of different elements too. But you're touching on spirit guides and angels. I was thinking to myself now, cocooning myself in this beautiful energy before I sleep, because I have that challenge where I think a lot of us have had it. They've got the Jedi skills or the intuition or the clairvoyance and so forth, where we've been tired. I've seen a lot of people end up with autoimmune stuff. I've seen a lot of people burnt out, chronic fatigue.
Like adrenals.
Adrenal, yeah. So in terms of spirit guides and angels, and in terms of me going, hey, spirit guides and angels, I'm ready for my new dream home.
Yeah.
What do we ask them?
Okay, so I guess how I would approach it is the best way that I feel to approach that is to never put the creative or manifesting power outside of you in any way, because I think some people get it kind of twisted when it comes to spirit guides and angels or the universe, and they think, okay, like, can I please have this? Can you bring that to me? And then they're like, oh, spirit guides, where is my soulmate? Where is my,
Yeah.
and it's like, dude, don't put the power outside of you in any way. But I think of it like, okay, so I'm here in this human experience, and I'm the creator of my own reality, and I need to work on my alignment with the energy, frequency, and vibration of the vision that I have, or the essence of what I'm calling in. And then I have these spirit guides or angels that are up here, and they can see the whole multi-dimensional aspect of what it is that I'm doing, and they can see the trajectory of the momentum of it and the manifestation of it on an energetic, frequency, vibrational level that I can't necessarily see yet in front of me. And like I check in with them as to like, how am I going? What am I needing to tweak? Show me a vision of the momentum that I'm creating. Show me a vision of like a clarity of what it is exactly that I'm manifesting, so that if I'm not 100% sure or not 100% happy with it, I can tweak it and work on that. Or if I am 100% happy with it, it's just like a confirmation to continue going the way that I'm going. Do you get what I mean by that? It's kind of like it's not asking to do the work. It's just like, I know that you have this higher perspective, and you can see the multidimensional layers of everything that's going on, and you can give me feedback and guidance as to how I'm going and the momentum of it and everything like that. So sometimes it might just be like, I'll be tuning into that when it comes to creating something. And they might just say, they might just get me to be aware of the fact that my inner child is sitting here going, I need you to acknowledge that I feel as if, or I've been conditioned to feel that I'm not worthy of having more than what most people have. And then I'm like, okay, so that's the thing I need to focus on is kind of healing my inner child from that limitation of fear so that I can, speed up the momentum of the creation. You know what I mean? So it's like it's more an aspect of the guidance and the insight that you may not be aware of within yourself.
I love it.
I think that's the biggest thing, or the most empowering thing. Yeah, but I also think of it like you can co-create with them in a sense of, say for example, when it comes to my readings, a lot of the time I'll just say to my spirit guides, my main one in particular, because I know that she's kind of, that's her thing. I'll say to her, just call in the souls that I can serve from my higher space, and create a connection somehow, and then I just leave it, and then I just find people will be they'll be emailing me at like 3 a.m. their time because they're like, I just woke up and had this like instinct or this pull to email you for some reason. I had this one lady, she said she was in meditation. She's from the US. She said she was in meditation and she'd never channeled or done any automatic cam writing before. She said she was in meditation and she had this urge to start writing things down, and she started writing like letter by letter. She wrote out my name and then Googled me and was like, hey, this might sound strange, but I'm pretty sure you'd be open to it. I was in meditation and I kind of like wrote your name down and Googled you and found you. I think I'm supposed to have a read. And I was like, oh yeah, it's my spirit guides. Ask them to assist in synchronizing things or communicating messages, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's definitely that co-creation aspect of it, but when it comes to like actually manifesting something, I'm more so asking them to give me feedback on how it's going rather than asking them to do anything about it.
100%. This is a fun one to explore. I often talk about, I use this hashtag a lot online. I call it the dream team. And a lot of the way I choose to live is quite lucid. That's why I was touching on the Indigenous reference before, because I believe that's how they knew where to go. I would hear stories about how they would travel 500 kilometers and they would be there at the exact same moment as other people. And I've had that so many instances where I travel the world and I'm just in the right place at the right time having the conversations with people. And I know that, anything I need to work on is that internal stuff. Even, becoming a dad this year, I started looking at, healing some of that inner child stuff, working through, like looking at self-worth stuff, looking at, lots of different things. I was having this thing pop up on my nose for a bit. I was like, I'm cutting off my nose to spite my face. Like I was just getting these little downloads. And it's so fascinating to be introspective and actually for ourselves, but also have great people around us that can give us insights and clarity. I find that really supportive. But a lot of that dream team element, I don't necessarily know if it's spirit guides. Rick and I joke a bit about that too. But I definitely always just, I don't know, the words as soon as I open my mouth. Yeah. They're doing a session with people, I just know what to say. And I talk to people, miracles happen. And they seem to keep liking talking to me.
Yeah.
If I talk to them, miracles happen, and then that's what I've been looking at now with the experiences, creating that in such a way that I've been looking at it too, so that I don't become the source of their creation. I'm always looking at that too. I think a lot of people can put power in terms of things outside of themselves and then go, I'll do what Brock tells me to do because that's what I know. So now I'm playing more with questions, but every now and then I just know exactly a different step for them. So it's just an interesting one for me to navigate.
Yeah. I think that's like such a important thing too with, guiding or coaching other people is like to not, like I kind of think of it like I would never want to be anyone's guru, if you know what I mean. Like you're not meant to be placing yourself as like God or like what you speak is the gospel for them type of thing. Like it's more so about helping them tune in and realize their own empowerment to know what's right for them and what kind of path to take and everything like that. I think that's a really important thing, because I feel like sometimes when it comes to the teachings of, say, like laws of the universe, or kind of communicating with the universe and manifesting with the universe, I feel like we kind of need to like just check in on ourselves and make sure we're not, again, putting the power outside of us in terms of I feel like sometimes a lot of us are saying, thank you, universe, thank you for this coming up in my life. And I feel like the universe is saying back to us, like, thank yourself. You know, like, you got an alignment with it and I just reflected it back to you. This isn't like to my credit. You know, I definitely play a role. I definitely reflect it back to you and kind of deliver it to your doorstep, so to speak, but you called it in. So pat yourself back kind of thing. Like, I feel like there's this thing of us needing to kind of dial that back in and be like, okay, like, I love the universe, I work with the universe showers me with all these beautiful things in life, but I am ultimately the one who calls it in and creates it. And then the universe corresponds, type of thing. I think that's really important as well, as what I've just been noticing lately.
I did one the other day. I'll give you guys a little one I like to do too, for you guys watching. You can try it too, Jessica. It's literally this guy the other day who's got a really wealthy entrepreneurial dad. He's starting up a business. And his dad's always said to him since he was a little kid is there's money everywhere. And he said it to me the other day. He goes, there's money everywhere. I'm like, cool, there's money everywhere. Kind of like that flick energy. And it's just a funny one. I have resources show up in the most extraordinary ways. It's nothing short of miracles. And, you know, my grandmother was an example of that too. So I've aimed to live a life similar where she gave away all her money and just trusted that she would be supported, and she always was in the most miraculous ways. It was quite fun, actually, just to talk about her. She lived almost to 101 years young. She was still driving at 100. But the other day I had it too, where this guy goes, there's money everywhere. And then I've had it multiple times this year where money blows in the breeze, or there's just always these different things show up. More money, like there'll be like money in my pocket or more in my account or different things. And I've been a little bit hesitant to share it publicly initially, because I guess that thing I was looking at now, you know, everyone always wants you to go, cool, prove it, do it now. So I'd like to be able to do it consistently. And that's what I've been looking in terms of my creation. Like, what are the elements to do that consistently? Because a lot of stuff, it's almost as if my mind's slippery and these things show up in the flow. But when I try and put my will or my structure in terms of it, it's a whole lot harder. Or people sit there trying to prove and figure you out. That's why I've been like danced between having a public image and being quite private in my life. And it's an interesting navigation. I made a distinction between, you know, stage magic. You know, when you go along to an event, personal development, and it's all set up. The whole audience is set up, and there's people that put their hands up, and I call it stage magic. Yeah. And real magic to me is, well, there's no stage, there's nothing. It's just you can do it or you can't. And that's what I've been interested to traverse more and more, to explore that and navigate that and actually have that element. So I don't need anything set up. So I could literally say, go to Mexico tomorrow with nothing and I'd be fine.
Yeah, that's the real magic.
It's super fun.
Yeah. It's kind of a similar story. When I was in Europe, I was on this kind of like...
Which part of Europe first? Flow. Take me there. Where are you going in Europe? Amsterdam was where you're flying into.
Yeah, the first place that happened was in Amsterdam. And then a couple other things happened in Spain. But it started in Amsterdam. I was in this space where, ever since I was a kid, I always used to have these dreams of like finding these wads of cash. And it was almost like in the dream, I was like, I forgot I held that. I forgot I hid that in that drawer, and be like, yeah, I found it again, kind of like no surprise. And I always did that when I was a kid. And then I started doing it again when I got to Europe, like not intentionally, but I just kind of started having dreams where I was like, oh, I just found this water cache. Blah, blah, blah. I was like, this is so much fun. Like, I don't even care money. Yeah. I just find this fun because it's treasure, you know. And then I started to having these experiences where I was walking down the street, and then okay, so in Amsterdam, we were just walking down the street, one of the main streets, and then there was just 20 euros sitting there, and I was like, mine. And I was like, well, how is that sitting there? And then we went to Spain, in Barcelona, in that main beach area, again, 20 euros just sitting there, and I was like, another 20 euros. And then again, at Barcelona, another time, again, just 20 euros, just sitting somewhere, like, there's all these people sitting around, and it's as if it's invisible. Like, how is it not fun seeing this? And it was just so much fun to me because I feel like it was just this little treasure hunt type thing. Yeah. And as soon as I felt myself go face where I was like, where am I going to find my next one? Or I was like looking around for it, it stopped. And I was like, I know what I did there. I got too like involved with my mind. I went out of the play and just started like looking for it and trying to like make it happen. And then I was like, oh well, like that was a really fun experience to see how when you play, the flow with it, it happens so easily. But when you go into the working out of it, it stops.
It's fascinating.
Just those experiences, like they teach you, this is how the law of attraction really works. Like if you go on that flow, it happens. Try to work it out. You get yourself stuck, kind of thing.
Yeah, it's tricky. I did a Facebook Live recently, and you know that you're talking about that with your previous partner, where he'd go to work at 6 and you'd be there, and then the dog and you would get a little bit lucid, or a little bit in the astral, and start going on adventures. And I had it where before Christy and I went for our morning walk, I just started dreaming that I was going to find some cash. And I went out for a walk, and then I just found, like, I just dreamt I was going to find cash. And I went out for a walk, and on the way back, I found a 5, and then I just kind of sensed that I was going to find more. And I found a 20. I had a sense that I was going to find more, and then I found another 20. And my lucky number's 55. I've got it written all over stuff. And anyway, there's probably another 10 somewhere. But yeah, $45 was there. Then I did a Facebook Live about it. And one of the ladies who I've been fortunate to mentor, she's doing really well. Like, she wanted to be in the top 1% of stylists in the world. And now she's doing it. But we never worked on strategy or skill set. It was all about the energy, because she was already really good at what she did. It was just changing the energy a bit. But she found 20. She called me and she goes, I just found $20. And I'm fascinated by these, like, the elementals of energy, what it is within people's energetic framework. That's more, even for myself, like those things, like what's the veil in terms of, like, right now, me just walking today to that house, it's 1.3. So going up to that house today and just going, bang, here's the cash. Like a freaking suitcase full of cash. Because even in Bali at the end of the retreat, I promised the guys an amazing after party. We had dinner at this gorgeous place over there. The billionaires like Richard Branson and Donna Kay stay at this place. And we managed to go. And we had a dinner there, which was the most enchanted experience. It was ridiculous. But the next day we got invited back. We made drone footage, and somehow we managed to organize it in such a way that we got to stay there. It's $20,000 a night normally. And at the time, that wasn't within the team budget, but we just said yes to it and we figured it out. But then I went to myself, well, if I can create these experiences anyway, why not be the guy that can just say, hey, Jessica, hey, Rick, Mel, whoever wants to come, I just booked this private stay for a week. It's all covered. Don't worry about it. Just drop, like you said with that water cash experience, drop 140K and just go, I got, the more I spend, the more shows up. That's what I'm playing more in that abstract element of creation. And when I'm playing, it's really easy. When I try and figure it out, it's really hard.
I wanted to touch on when you're just talking about it in terms of like, the more I spend, the more I attract. What I've kind of found, and this is just something that I've kind of had as my own theory or philosophy, is like in our own energetic space, I think, like, when it comes to money, because I think money is a consciousness of its own, and we each have our own relationship with it. And the more that we connect with it as a consciousness and communicate with it and call it in, and direct it kind of like, I see it as like, okay, so we're these channels for the universe's resources. Money is one of them. Make yourself a good investment and it will just flow, kind of thing. But I also see it like we hold, with money being an energy or a consciousness, we each have like a holding space for, to a certain level, for the energy and the consciousness of money to fill up and be held by, right? And then and we can expand that at any time through our consciousness, but we each kind of got our own different holding space for it. And the way that I've kind of played with this is that I've become aware of my own energetic holding space for money, and literally, you know, to like a dollar amount. And I've watched how if I fill up that space to that dollar amount, it kind of sits there. Unless I consciously expand it, more will come in. But if it's sitting at that holding space, it'll just kind of sit there. And it kind of seems like, for some reason, it's kind of like at that space. If it's just sitting there, not necessarily any more money will be coming in. But once I start putting the money out, and it kind of opens up space, then all of a sudden money just starts to stream in and take it back to filling up that space. Do you see what I'm meaning by this? And then it's kind of like it just bobbles, like it goes out and then it comes back in, and then it goes out and it comes back in, but it just bobbles around the similar space. But then as soon as I consciously expand my relationship with money and expand my holding space for money, then it goes to this new kind of space where it bobbles back and forth between. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that as like examples, you know how I've listened to Abraham Hicks a lot of the time. They say that people that aren't really kind of holding enough space for money, and then they somehow win the lottery, it then kind of just appears just as soon as it comes in, because they're not holding space for it. So I truly think that we as energetic beings, we hold a certain space within our consciousness for the energy of money, and it can only fill up and be held to the level of which we're holding for it. You know, you see what I mean by that?
Yeah, 100%.
And then you've just got to expand the holding space. And that's why it's like I see people who are earning in the kind of like the hundreds, and then there's people who are earning in the hundreds of thousands, but they each seem like there's no difference in the way that it's relative in the same way. Do you get what I mean by that? Kind of like this person's earning and spending in the hundreds, this person's earning and spending in the hundreds of thousands, but they're still in the same like relative space.
Feels similar.
Feels similar. Do you know what I mean by that? Even though they've got totally different dollar amounts, it's relative in each way. They're just different amounts. Yeah.
I love it though, just like expanding that space around it. I was talking to a guy the other day about it, and him and I said that's every day more and more. It's the internal game. Like at this level where we're playing, and I guess it's true for everyone. It's always an internal thing. But I know for myself, it's just taking that time every day, working on the internal stuff, and it shows up. And I'm curious. So I go, well, I like that experience of going to the place that the billionaires go to, and then going, well, wonder what it'd be like to be a billionaire. And actually, well, what projects would I support? And then having a bigger vision, looking at it now, getting to that level, because we touched on it a bit with vision before in another way, but going, well, clean air, clear water, clear minds. Imagine what we could do. You don't necessarily need that amount of currency, but it certainly makes it a lot more liquid. It certainly makes a lot more projects easily viable. And yeah, it's an interesting trajectory to go, well, cool, we're already staying where the billionaires stay. We're already in those circles. But what is that space that has to exist within me to actually be at that level? And there is the skill set, of course, in running and managing large resources, but I definitely feel that space is a big thing. There's another guy that we speak to. He's the same age as me, and he had $1 billion turnover company, and it was all guided by spirit. He's had times where he'd had no cash. At 12, he was supposed to die from some kind of virus or infectious disease of some description, and spirit told him what to do, and he's fine now. He's healthy.
Amazing. It shows like the power of listening.
Taking time. Let's touch on that because I got to go in a second. I was supposed to go at about 3. I promised Christy I wouldn't be too long, but I love these conversations. I appreciate it. We can always do it again another time. Thanks everyone for watching. So if people want to tune in and listen to themselves, let's just give them a little bit of insight there. It's probably helpful.
What's the main thing that you find? Because I know that there's that whole thing of like meditate and do yoga, but so many people are like, doesn't work for me. And so for everyone it's different. But what is it that you find that you feel is like your listening space or where you receive most?
Yeah, 100%. For me, after I've had a couple of times in my life where I felt like I had a bit of an awakening, where it was everything feels like this makes sense, and all of a sudden everything I believed true until that point was flipped on its head. I was like, and I would be walking along a street, and all of a sudden the colors were much more intense. There was much more richness to the experience that I was having in the same moment, from moment to moment. Brighter, different things. So things I would suggest to people: drink plenty of really high quality water. Get the fluoride out of your system.
Yeah.
Start connecting here more. Start to connect here, so you start to activate your pineal. Really, like, I always just feel like really connect to your body. I know it's quite sensual as a man for a man to go, hey, I love my body, but I found that my body is such a wonderful receiving device of information.
Body is like an antenna, really. You know, like it feels and picks up on everything that it's connected to, and that is spirit and source and the universe. So I think getting in tune with your body is a huge part of realizing that it is like an antenna, a receiver of listening. And I think also like because sometimes people say to me, like, when it comes to communicating with spirit and source, I think some people ask me, like, how do you hear it? As if like whispering in my ear, like, you know, telling me things, and it's really not like that. It's more a thing of like, say if you were to think of a song, like just think of the happy birthday song, you can hear it, right? You take a moment, hear people singing happy birthday, you can hear it, but it's not in your ear, you're hearing it audiently. That's more what it's like. Just in case anyone's curious about like how to listen to spirit's messages, don't expect it to be whispering in your ear necessarily. Just expect to listen, hear from a different level. You're not using your ears, you're using your senses, your ability to telepathically listen. And so for me, it's more like, for me, because I'm a very playful kind of energy, if I dance around and get in like just like in my happy mode type of thing, that's when I hear things the most, or when I listen, or where I kind of get the inspirations or the guidance. It's not always necessary like sitting down and meditating, because sometimes that's the main thing that will make me think about all the other things. Sometimes I just need to like get dance around and just kind of do something, or go out in nature and just kind of just be open, not necessarily like listening, but just be like open, and then feeling come in and just then tapping in and listening type of thing. But it's different for everyone. I would say the best advice that I could give is to learn how you get most in tune with your soul, your spirit and source, and then listen from that place, as opposed to some type of one tool for everyone, you know?
100%.
And I totally agree with getting rid of that fluoride out of your system and really kind of focusing on being as in alignment with nature, because nature's got all the ingredients for your highest connection. But yeah, I've loved talking to you about all these things and all the magic of life. And it's funny, like, you can talk forever.
We could talk.
I'm sure
for 12 hours.
Waiting. Yeah.
We'll say goodbye. Thanks
it's been really fun.
There you go.
Oh, sorry. I was just gonna say, I hope everyone enjoyed us kind of just going off on a tangent.
They're the conversations I love more and more now. I mean, obviously it's different for everyone. Someone wants to know the 5 steps in 5 minutes and get on with their day. For me, I'm more interested just to see what resonates, see what's like aligned and true for me, and just tune in. And it's just a fascinating one to explore conversations. And I figure if our conversation makes a difference for one person, it's enough. It makes a difference for 1,000 people, it's enough. Doesn't matter. That's whatever the, never being too worried about like the likes or the whatever it happens to be. All I know is that the more I just say yes to the things that feel aligned and then say no to the things that don't, life's magical. So appreciate you taking the time to connect. It's been lovely. I look forward to see you soon.
Yeah, definitely.
And I'm going to take.
You go.
That's it.
Cool. All right. Thank you so much.
Thanks, everyone.
And enjoy the rest of your day.
Will do. Ciao, ciao.